Good afternoon, dear esteemed guests, colleagues and teachers. Welcome to our Department of Aeromechanics and Flight Engineering of Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology, or DAFE MIPT for short. We're glad to see you at our conference, which is honored to the 50th anniversary of our favorite department. And today we're going to speak about affiliated organizations, which take part, a very important part, in students' life here. Well, according to the FISTIC system, as DAFE is one of the departments of MIPT, it is one of the most important embodiment of this system, and students during the first and the second year, they just get some knowledge, fundamental knowledge about mathematics, natural science, and English and computer science, and during the third year they get in some practice at affiliated flight or affiliated research institutions, or so-called bases. And during the fourth year they are preparing for the own research, which is made at the affiliated organization. And so today, me and my colleagues, which are the second year students of MIPT DAFE, are going to tell you about these affiliated organizations, several of them, such as Ilyushin Flight Complex, Central Institution of Aviation Motors, Fundamentals of GSKs, Gromov Flight Institute Research, and Almaz-Antey. So our conference starts with Ilyushin Aviation Complex, and my colleagues will now present their presentation to you. So welcome.
Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. Let me introduce our team. We are second-year students of the Department of Aeromechanics and Flight Engineering, Moscow Institute of Physics and Technologies. My name is Nikita Khashtarya, and there are other members of our team: Irina Polonskaya, Anton Zrachov, Georgy Gruzdev, and Vladislav Olesin. Today we are going to talk about Ilyushin Aviation Complex. We have divided our presentation into 5 parts. The main points we will make are: first, company's overview; the second one will be Ilyushin passenger aircraft; after that we will talk about Ilyushin cargo aircraft; then it will be the part about innovations, and it will be a summary at the end. There will be time for questions and discussion at the end of our talk. So let us begin. I would like to hand over to Irina Polonskaya, who will give the company's overview.
Thank you, Nikita. Good morning. Let me introduce the company background information. Ilyushin Aviation Complex was founded in 1933 with Sergei Ilyushin as the head of the design bureau. Under his guidance, the company became one of the leading complex aircraft engineering enterprises in the USSR. An important statistic is that within 80 years, the company developed over 200 and produced over 120 aircraft. Also, throughout the company existence, over 60,000 ill-branded airplanes were manufactured. It is worth noting that their features are simple design, high reliability, long lifetime, ease of handling, and low maintenance. As for military aircraft, Ilyushin is notable for bomber, ground attack aircraft, military airlifters, and special purpose aircraft. So, we've given an overview of the background information, and I'd like to hand over to the next member of our team, Georgy Gruzdev, who will focus on Ilyushin passenger aircraft.
Thank you, Irina. Good afternoon. I am going to introduce Ilyushin passenger aircraft lineup. First, Il 96-300 uses the newest solutions and modern systems, ensuring high safety and reliability. Also, the crew consists of just 3 people, which makes this airplane economically efficient. This aircraft complies with international ecological requirements, and it is equal to its foreign counterparts. Next, Il-62M is the first Soviet intercontinental jetliner. It is capable of flying in adverse weather conditions at any latitude, at any time of the day or night. Third, Il-114-100 uses the modernist digital flying navigation complex, which complies with European navigation requirements. And finally, Il-103 has a high safety level and exclusive manufacturing technology. It can be used as an air taxi, a patrol coastal guard aircraft, and an environmental monitoring vehicle. It is also designed for use by business people and by flying schools as the primary trainer. Now I would like to give the floor to Anton Nazrachov, who will speak about Ilyushin transport aircraft.
Thank you, Georgi. Let me first focus on Il-76MD, military transport aircraft. It's meant for parachute operations and landing of military personnel, military vehicle, different equipment, and etc. Secondly, I'd like to turn to Il-76MF. It's modification of Il-76MD, and it's designed for the same purposes. I'd like to stress that transport capacity was increased by 30%. Also, designers managed to increase the number of transported personnel. Finally, we need to look at Il-96-400T. It was designed as modification of passenger aircraft. Its main features are: first, passenger cabin was reconstructed into the cargo compartment. Second, configuration of cargo deck allow use different patterns of loading and palletizing when placing the cargo. Now I want to hand over to my colleague Vladislav Odesin, who will highlight Ilyushin innovative projects.
Thank you, Anton. I'm going to cover Ilyushin innovations. And let me focus on Il-76-90MD-A, which innovations are all inside the plane. Its wings consist only from long integral parts, which makes it lightweight and durable. Moreover, another type of powerful and quiet turbojets was used in this aircraft. It can take off and land particularly everywhere, on the ground, snow, and even ice. Another interesting features are glass cockpit and cutting-edge display aero sensors. It's worth mentioning that testing of modernized Il-76 will be complete in the middle of 2016.
So we have come to the end of our presentation. In conclusion, we have provided information about the Ilyushin Aviation Complex. We have provided background information, examined aircraft lineups and innovations. Thank you for your time and attention. Now we would like to open the floor for your questions and discussion.
Thank you for your presentation, and I have a question. Many people think that IL-96 has become outdated. What is your opinion about it, and what do you think about the future of IL-96?
I would like to hand over to my colleague who will answer this question.
Thank you for your question. We know that old models of U96 nowadays is very old and they can't be used for a long time nowadays. But Illusion now make new modification of U96 which will make that plane very useful for any corporation who want to use it in their work.
Okay, thank you.
Next question, please.
What are the primary advantages of Il-96 that distinguish it from other airliners?
Wait a second, I would like to hand over to Safalesi who would like to answer this question.
Il-76 can be used for many different operations. For example, for military or like a freighter of private goods. And it's very big plane with many modifications now, which can be used in different ways.
Yes, please.
What topics can be used for writing a thesis as the illusion department?
One more time, please.
What topics can be used for writing a thesis at illusion department?
Well, they surely must be changed with aircrafts and especially with models which are projected in illusion aviation aircrafts. Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Your presentation looks like commercials for me. But I'm not buyer, I'm teacher and you are students. What could you say about infrastructure of this company? Is there any place for students, for our former specialists in this place? Are there any fundamental fluid dynamics departments there?
Thank you for the question. I'm sure that there are some valuable places for our students who will surely make the level of aviation airlines provided in Illusion aviation complex higher.
Are you sure about that?
Well, yes,
As far as
it
I
all
know,
depends.
As far as I know, even at Boeing, there is no any research labs inside.
Well, maybe because there are not so many qualified students and workers. I don't know. But if we will, it all in our hands, you know. So I think there are some places with good salaries and high perspectives.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you for your attention.
Now we are moving Can you listen to me? Oh,
Yes.
I don't listen if it's wrong. Okay. Well, now we're heading to the next presentation. It's about Central Institute of Aviation Motors. And welcome my colleagues, please, onto the stage. We're ready to begin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Helen Torpova, and I would like to represent my colleagues Anton Firsov and Daria Savinov. We are second-year students of Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology, and the topic of our presentation is Central Institute of Aviation Motors, named after Baranov. Our presentation is divided into 3 parts without coffee break, and it will last about 7 minutes. First of all, I will give you some general information about SIAM, then Anton is going to mention the SIAM's test list in outline, and after that Daria will tell you about some directions of developments of the Institute. If you have any questions, please, we would be glad to answer at the end of our presentation. So let me start. SIAM is Russian Federation State Scientific Center. It's the leading Russian research institute in aero engines. A branch of SIAM is situated near Moscow. It's a unique stunt complex with total power capacity of installed equipment about 750 megawatts. Apart from this, it conducts the imitations of high-speed flight conditions at altitude range from 0 to 27 kilometers and the Mach number from 0 to 4. On the wall, two academicians, 42 doctors and 250 candidates of sciences work in the institute. What is more, SIAM preserves and enhances a numerous team of outstanding scientists who had world-known schools in the fields of physics and energy. The SIAM scientific contribution in development is worldwide recognized. It's the only scientific organization in the country that conducts comprehensive researches and developments in the fields of aircraft engines. SIAM carries out some basic researches of physical processes, as well as creates, develops and certificates new engines. It was saying that almost all domestic aircraft engines are created with the participation of the Institute. Now I would like to give floor to Anton.
Here you can see some pictures of SIAM, and we're moving to the next part of our presentation. Please, next slide, which is some information about test center. Well, the position of test list in the outline of SIAM is very huge. SIAM possesses some abilities in modern engine development, which is based on integration of high-level mathematical modeling systems. And what is more, one of the features of this test center is using some 3D methods of unsteady viscous flows. What is more, SIAM possesses some unique experimental facilities for simulation of high altitude, and these facilities are very important for the science in our country. And we're moving to the next part, which is about this next slide, directions of activity, and I will begin this part and Daria will continue. A very important part of our presentation here, but there are about 7 directions of SIAM activity, which are engines, nodes, endurance, strength, reliability, gas dynamics, and chematology. Concerning engines, the SIAM is looking for some government standards, and it tries to follow these standards when they work with engines, and the nodes, it is something like gas cameras or like this, and it is a very wonderful, as scientists say, feature that they can use in their scientific research. And now I'm giving the word to Daria, who is going to continue our presentation.
Thank you, Anton. Now I would like to continue the speech and tell you something about systems. They develop in three ways in SIAM. There are control system, automatically control system, diagnosis system, and system of mentoring. Well, the first one is automatically control system. It is one of the most important of all systems because you need to control as complex process as SIAM, and of course you need to use a system which is automatically control system in SIAM. The second part of my presentation will be about chematology. Chematology is a science about gas, oils, and rational usage and explanation of gas and oils. As we know, in aviation, oils are very important, and of course, we can't imagine our days, nowadays aviation without this science. The third part of my presentation will be about endurance. Endurance is a thing that can help you to explain a process which can happen with plane, for example, during flying or during process of its explanation. It can help you to pretend catastrophe, for example. And there are also two directions in SIAM. There are gas dynamics and reliability. Well, they are some more abstract, and gas dynamics is a part of physics, which can help you to understand something about planes. And the last one direction is reliability, and it can help people to explain is their flight safe. Now it's all I want to tell to you. Now I would like to give floor to Helen to conclude our presentation.
In conclusion, SIAM is a face of Russian aviation. All innovations in the field of aircraft engines are conducted by this institute. That's all we have to tell you now. If you have any questions, please have them. Thank you for your attention.
My name is Anton Ibihin, and I have the next question. What experimental equipment are used in SIAM for testing jet motors?
Okay, I need the presentation to show you. Please, can you rewind some slides? Not this? Not this? Well, I've got a very small picture of it, but it's a picture. And here you can see the equipment for testing engines. What to say about it? Well, one of the most important tests of engines is blowing. And as we were said during our excursion to the CM, it can the duration of this process can take about 10,000 hours. But I think that something about this process I can know if I go to the SIAM department in the future. Well, that's it. Another question?
Thank you.
Do some scientists develop a new type of motors which will allow to overcome sound barrier for airliners?
I think it's very actual problem for nowadays, and I'm sure scientists develop this problem to overcome the sound barrier.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there anybody in your course who is going to CIAM for training or for future research programs? Who is going to apply for CIAM?
Well, you know, it's very difficult to say, for example, for me, which department I'm going to choose. Even today, on the 7th of April, or the 6th, I don't remember the date. Well, but, you know, about 25% I'm choosing CM in my mind, and I think that there are people in our second year that are going to choose it either because they have no choice, they have to choose between something, and of course somebody will choose CM, but you know, it's very difficult to say about this information even today.
Okay, do you like experiment or theory or computations?
Well, during these 2 years studying here, I can definitely say that experimentals are better for me than theory. They are more interesting than theory.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, any questions or not? Or can we just give the floor to the third presentation? Okay. And now we move to the third presentation of our conference, which is about fundamentals of GACE case. And please welcome my colleagues. We're waiting for you.
Good afternoon, dear guests, colleagues, and welcome to our presentation. Thank you for coming. It's great to see you all here.
For our presentation, first of all, I'm going to introduce myself and members of my team. My name is Marta, and these are Хомячок Алексей, Илья Сыроватский, Непомящий Сергей, и Илья Городилов. We are the second year students at the Department of Aeromechanics and Flight Engineering of Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology. We have been asked to give you a general overview about fundamentals of gas case and answer why should we choose it. We are going to develop 4 main points. In the first part, we will give you some common information about this department. In the next section, we will tell you about base organizations. In the first part, we are going to explain what disciplines are at the department, and in the end of our presentation, we show you where you can work after graduating. That's all for our presentation. Now let's move to the first part. My colleague Ilya will tell you some common information about this department. Ilya, please.
Thank you, Marta. Well, let's start. The department was founded in 1995. This year, the management of Gazprom, realizing the importance of preparing researchers of new generation, made a treaty with the MIPT. The aim of this contract is that MIPT takes on a special direction students for research and experiment. In addition, I would like to say a few words about the guide of the department. The head of the department is Vyacheslav Maximov. He has a lot of regalias. For example, he is a doctor of technical sciences, professor, honored scientist of the Russian Federation. So that's all common information I wanted to say about, and now Alexei will tell you about base organizations.
Thank you, Ilya. Well, to begin, there are two organizations of this department. I'd like to share intelligence of all Russian Scientific Research Institute of Natural Gases and Gas Technologies, Gazprom NIGAS. Firstly, NIGAS is the head research center of open joint stock company Gazprom on development and exploitation of natural gas fields. Secondly, is the leader in the field of forecasting and exploration of natural gas. Finally, it has got an interesting history of development. It was established in 1948 to solve the problem of exploration and development of gas fields. Moreover, it was to be a scientific and technical service to the first main gas pipeline Saratov-Moscow. NIGAS employs over 1,500 of highly skilled professionals, including 300 of PhDs. And now, if you look at this chart, you'll see basic research areas of NIGAS. So, that's the end of my part of our presentation. And now, Ilya will continue and tell you something about another organization.
Thank you, Alexei. Firstly, I'd like to look at the Institute of Oil and Gas Problems of the Russian Academy of Sciences. It is the only organization in the Russian Academy of Sciences which works out from the geology exploration of oil and gas fields to the economy and the problems of ecology of oil and gas industry. Today we can say that the original aim is the creation of a new type of a scientific institution combining the dynamism of high school and the tradition of academic science. The number of members of the institute is 232. Furthermore, the institute employs 2 academicians and 108 PhDs. Previous slide, please. Now I'd like to draw your attention to this chart. You can see here the major departments of Russian Scientific Research Institute of Natural Gases and Gas Technologies. It is a good example of a wide range of institute activity. That's all I want to say about these organizations, and now Sergey will show you what disciplines are read as a department.
Thank you, Ilya. First, I would like to tell you about the composition of the department. Currently, 21 students from the 3rd to 6th course and 1 postgraduate study in this department. Besides the leading specialists of IPNG, VNI, GAS, TSAGI, and DAFE MIPT, including 18 doctors, work here. And now I would like to tell you about the disciplines that are delivered in this department. I would like to mention some of them. Gas transportation of gas, gas production technology, gas processing principles of geology. As for cadres qualified by the department, I would like to say the following. It prepares engineers physics on the main directions of the gas industry. Also, in my opinion, it will be interesting to pay attention to the following slide. Next slide, please. At this slide you can see the following, which graduates work in which organization. And now Marta will sum up our presentation.
Thank you, Sergey. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. Let me give you a summary of what we have been talking over the last 10 minutes. First, we looked at common issues about this department. Second part was about its base organizations. And finally, we told you where you can work after graduating. That's all for us. Thank you very much for your attention. If there are any questions, so we would be happy to answer them.
Thanks for your presentation. I have a question. Do I need to know programming in order to enter and work at your department?
Thank you, Dmitry. Ilya will tell.
Thank you for the question. I think that if you can easily operate with different programs, it is for sure useful for your life, but for this department I think that you can very useful study without programming because it is not main activity of this department.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
Who is going to go on the oil and gas division?
I think that in our course, many people who will go to the department, for example, it's me.
Why?
Just because I want to develop my knowledge in this department.
For example, in which sphere do you prefer to do your diploma?
In fundamentals of gas.
And did you see the disciplines in our division?
Yeah, yeah.
And which of them do you prefer?
Actually, now I don't know. I just want to go to the department, and then while I will study, I will choose the best for me.
Okay, what about us?
I think they have the same opinion about this question.
Do you know any information about experiments in our division? Physical experiments or some applied systems or innovative systems which are developed in our division?
No, I don't know, but I'd like to know this in future.
Okay.
Thank you. Next question, please. Please.
What role will the national gas production play in human life and future?
Alexei will answer.
Well, as for me, it will occupy the same role as years ago. Cause any alternative sources of energy can't change gas, because it's quite cheap and powerful. So as for me, everything will stand out in its places. Any other questions?
That was our third presentation, and now we're moving to Gromov Flight Research Institute, and the guys are going to the stage, so welcome. The fourth presentation about Gromov Flight Research Institute.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce my team. My name is Ivanushkin Ivan, and there are my colleagues, Andrei Shiglov, Alexei Yershov, and Dmitry Butaev. We are all studying in MIPT, and today we are going to tell you general information about Gromov Flight Research Institute, LEE for short. Our presentation is divided into three parts. Firstly, Alexei will tell you some facts about history. Then Andrei will tell you about the researchers, and then Dmitry Butaev will tell about investigations, and after that I will give you a conclusion. Our presentation will last about 15 minutes. Then you will have time to ask questions. So let us begin. I would like to invite my colleague Alexei.
Good afternoon, everyone. Flight Research Institute. Слышно вообще? Flight Research Institute is an important Russian aircraft test base and a scientific research center. Switch to the previous slide, please. Well, it has the longest runway in Europe at 5 kilometers and 403 meters. In addition, it also holds an international air show event called MAX. I'll switch to the next slide. Sorry. During the 1930s, there was a rapid growth of Soviet aviation and an experimental aircraft manufacturing, which resulted in establishing of Central Aerohydrodynamic Institute and Experimental Aerodrome Ramenskoye in a small settlement called Stakhanova near Oddych station of Moscow Peasant Railway line. The Flight Research Institute was founded on the 8th of March of 1941 in accordance with the degree of Sovnarkom and the Central Committee of the Soviet Union, or Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Mikhail Gromov became its first chief. Switch to the next. No. The first years of activity of Flight Research Institute fell on the Great Patriotic War. During that time, experts of the Institute developed recommendations with respect to maintenance of the highest possible level of aircraft military characteristics. Next slide. Later, in 1947, on the initiative of Mikhail Gromov, a school of pilots researchers was formed in Lee. Over the 60 years, the school have trained more than 500 aviators, and 38 of them were awarded as a hero of the Soviet Union, and 4 were given the state prize of the Russian Federation. Next slide, Yosif. Later, in 1979, a group of test pilots was formed in order to work with the Buran prototype. They succeeded that mission. In addition, the Flight Research Institute periodically holds the International Air Show, as I have already said. In that show, we're usually participating some countries of the CIS. That is all I wanted to say. So now I would like to invite Andrei Shegov, who will tell you about research of the Flight Research Institute.
Thank you, Alexei. I would like to give you some information about FRC Lee. Firstly, total area of the aerodrome pavement of the Flight Research Institute is about 2.5 square kilometers. Secondly, airplane helicopter fleet of FRC exceeds 100 units. Then, set of on-ground control means radio technical support, provide conduction of flights in daytime and nighttime in normal and complicated meteorological conditions. Moreover, Lee has up-to-date automated air traffic control system which provides simultaneous conduction of 15 flights in research zone at continuous radar monitoring from taking off to landing. In addition, not only flying vehicles are concentrated in FRC, but there are also pilots, navigators, flight engineers, mechanics, and other experts providing flight operations. It is worth noting that great experience gained by FRC experiments at performing the tests for all types of modern airplanes and helicopters permits them to conduct most complicated flight experiments in high qualified manner. Developing this point, I would like to notice that the personnel of the research center is gradually increased due to graduates of School of Pilots researchers. The school performs qualification, improvement and preparation of pilots, navigators and air traffic control officers. I would like to notice that preparation of cosmonauts researchers is directed to implementation of specific methods of manual control during various stages of aerospace flight. Future cosmonauts researchers are passed through special preparations according to program of visiting the orbital stations. Next slide, please. And now I would like to say several words about automated flight experiment control system. Firstly, the system provides accumulation, processing and displaying on-ground point of current trajectory measurement, as well as a radio communication link with the tested flying vehicle. Secondly, it gives the possibility to the leader of the test to control the process of the experiment. And thirdly, it increases efficiency and safety of the experiment. The next part of our presentation is about explorations.
And I will tell you about flight research investigations. And during the test of prototype objects, it is very important to keep the simulating similar criteria. Next slide, please. Next. Okay. And it is a great problem of Flight Research Institute, because many of them couldn't often be practically overcome. But by the way, Lee solved this problem. The most important similarity criteria are keep. And then it is very important to control about the flight laboratories. It is to tell you about the flight laboratories and stands, because many airplanes, for example, airplane refueler Il-78, it is often used as flight laboratory. And now I would like to give you a conclusion. First, Alexei will tell you some about history. Then Andrei told you about their research, and I will give you some information about investigations and explorations. And now I would like to leave you with the following thought, that Lee has a future despite of any crisis. And now I would like to open the floor for questions and discussion.
My name is Anton Epichin. I heard that there are a number of flying laboratories in Flying Research Institute. Could you talk about them in more detail? I mean, what aircrafts are used and what testing they do? Thank you.
Andrei will answer this question.
Thank you for this question. As I know, there are two airplanes used in the experiments, Su-27 and MiG-29. During the experiment, temperatures of different points of the airplane surface is determined, and during the experiments, problems of heat exchange are explored, and also flight vehicle control systems are developed. That's all I know.
Thank you.
Andrei, you've told with great enthusiasm about this department. Would you like to study on it?
Maybe, I really don't know yet, because I haven't chosen the department yet.
Thank you.
They say that there will be an international airport in Zhukovsky in the near future. What's your opinion about the idea? How will it influence flight research institute? What do you think?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch your question. May you repeat it, please?
I mean, I I'm sure you know about the idea of creation of international airport in Zhukovsky. How this will influence this institute? What do you think?
Ivan will answer this question.
I think that it will influence badly on Flight Research Institute because there will be a lot of aircrafts or will maybe for citizens, and there will be less researches, less research and less investigations. And I don't imagine how will the international aerospace show will hold.
You think it will be a great problem? Yes?
Yes, I think it is a great, enormous problem. Thank you for your questions.
And the last but not the least on our list presentation is about concern Alma Santei, and the group of students is going to the stage, so welcome. Please, we are waiting for you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kokorin Denis. I am a second-year student of Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology. I would like to welcome you on our presentation. We all know that the Russian Federation is one of the largest states in the world, which contains a great amount of oil, natural gas, and other natural resources. For providing the security of our motherland, the Defense Department of Russian Federation must be equipped with the most cutting-edge weapons, which must be able to neutralize the threat both on the ground and in the air. In the modern world, the most important element of defense is the airspace defense. And so, the main theme of our discussion is the enterprise, which equips the armed force of Russian Federation with the most up-to-date and effective systems of missile, air and airspace defense. Our presentation will last about 7 minutes. The presentation is divided into two parts. Firstly, my friend Peter Astraukho will tell us about the history of... Oh, I'm sorry, I have forgotten to tell about the name of the enterprise. This enterprise called Concern Alma Santei, of course. Firstly, my friend Peter Astraukho will tell us about the history of Alma Santei. Secondly, my teammate Vanya Martynov will inform us about the main activities and about the future projects of this concern.
Thank you, Denis. I'd like to tell about the history of Alma Santei and its several projects. First of all, the history of Alma Santei begins from the 8th of September 1947. The main task was to develop a totally innovative system consisting of special plane shell dropped from another plane and aimed on huge sea aim. On the November 21st, 1955, the launch of first prototype was conducted from the Tu-4, and the cruise Krasny Kavkaz was destroyed. That's why we can connect this date with the birth of controlled rocket weapon. At that time, all Soviet defensive industry was aimed on making a totally innovative, durable anti-aircraft warfare circle around Moscow called Berkut. By the way, the same time, Alexander Rasputin comes to the enterprise as vice constructor of this system. And the 26th of April 1953 is the day when the first plane target was destroyed with 3 rockets. Then I'd like to turn to the 7th of May 1955. This is the date when the AAW S-25 Berkut was invented. It was able to fight against targets with speed about 1.5 thousand kilometers per hour and with heights from 5 to 25 kilometers and on the range about 35 kilometers. The next step was developing of S-75 with ability to move. It was aimed on eliminating targets with middle and high altitudes. Also, I'd like to stress that during the Caribbean crisis, S-75 based on Cuba not only made it impossible to America to strike the island from air, but also prevented the beginning of nuclear war between the US and the USSR. However, the efficiency of S-75 was proved. Soon it was discovered that it's unable to fight against targets with low altitude. That's why on the 1st of June 1961, the Soviet Army was equipped with S-125 Neva aimed on fighting against low altitude targets. An interesting fact that on the 27th of March 1999, a high-profile F-117A stealth was destroyed with S-125 during the last war on Balkans. Then comes the 1967. This is the date of development of S-200 with longer distance. It was able to destroy target from about 240 kilometers. It's called Angara. Also, the shells of it were improved with the guidance warheads. The 1979 is the date when the S-300 was developed. This complex was so unique that it was able to destroy targets both on high altitude and low altitude. Despite the fact that it was invented about 35 years ago, it still forms the main part of Russian anti-aircraft defense. Finally, on the 6th of August 2007, the last innovation of Almaz, S-400 Triumph, has been created. I'd like to stress that there are no such complexes all over the world with the same level of efficiency. It can eliminate cruise missiles, planes, and warheads of ballistic rockets, even with the stealth technology. So this is the end of my part of presentation. Now my teammate Ivan will continue it.
Thank you, Peter. And first of all, I would like to give you some general information. Almaz-Antey is head military-industrial complex that is engaged in the development of anti-aircraft missile systems and air defense. On the slide, you can see a head design bureau. Enjoy it. And in addition, rich scientific and technical potential allows Almaz-Antey constantly develop a wide range of programs and projects, and officially cooperate with domestic customers, the armed forces of Russian Federation. Now let's turn to the things that were developed at Almaz-Antey. The enterprise has developed a lot of projects, and here you can see S400 Triumph. Such complexes were developed in order to protect critical, very important political and economic facilities from airstrikes. Next, we come to promising trends. Of course, I mean laser systems. Even in 90s, there was an opportunity to create laser complexes, but due to financing of government, the full-scale work was resumed in recent years. Moreover, laser subjects are developed in United States, and specialists from Alma-Antey follow the development of their systems, try to analyze the results of their tests, and compare our and their complexes. It's worth saying that these complexes are different, they have different, they are designed for solving different problems, so it's Alma-Antey maintain its leading position in developing such complexes. And now Denis will continue our presentation.
Thank you, guys. The Alma-Antey is a great enterprise with rich history and high scientific and technical potential. I want to conclude with I want to conclude by recommending you to pay attention to this enterprise and make a right decision where will you continue your education. Now we are ready to answer some questions if you have. Thank you for your attention.
I'm Alexey Brovkin. What will students of DAFE do after the studying at your department?
Okay, very nice question. Ivan will answer this.
I think that if you go to this department, you will be interested in developing anti-aircraft missile systems and will continue your career in Alma-Antey. You will be engaged in developing different projects and programs will protect our motherland.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. Maybe another. Okay. We are ready.
Thank you for your presentation. You said that there is some researchers of laser weapons. So will we someday see troopers with a laser weapon like in Star Wars films?
Very interesting question. Thank you. Peter will answer.
Frankly speaking, I didn't hear anything about this, but I read that this class of weapon is just a science fiction kind of weapon because it's not. It can be realized in real life, and the same I can say about the cosmic fights as we see in movies. We won't be able to lead such fights in the future if it even will be possible.
Thank you. Another question.
Thank you for your presentation. What do you think about the future of the defense of Russia?
Okay, very good question. As you see, there are very dangerous political atmosphere in the world. So, in my opinion, the defense of Russian Federation will be grow. We are ready.
My name is Maxim Kudrov, head of the laboratory, Almas-Antey laboratory. Question is about English language and Almas-Antey. Do you think is it necessary to learn English if you want to work in Almas-Antey? Maybe why is it so necessary?
Okay, thank you. One will answer.
I think that Almas-Antey cooperate with foreign states, so if you will work in this sphere in communication with foreign states, of course you need the language. Also, I think that it's nice to learn English because if even you just develop different systems, you can go abroad and learn and analyze the foreign results of their tests, and you know you need to learn English. Thank you.
Yeah. And what about the history of the relationships about Fistech and Almas-Antey? Do you know how long the relationships last and how many chairs in MIPT are affiliated with Almas-Antey?
Okay, I understood your question. Peter will answer.
I'm sorry, but I don't know when did the relationship begin, but as I heard, every year about 5 or 6 students from MIPT, from our department, go to Almas-Antey and work there as researchers or constructors.
The relationships started 50 years ago, and now there are 2 chairs affiliated with Almas-Antey.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you for your attention. Goodbye.
Well, that brings us to the end of our conference. We're very happy to have seen you here, and we hope you will join our next conference when it will be or won't be, but we hope you will join. Thank you.